Well, welcome to day 3. I am sorry for the late start. Some life popped up and I had to take care of that, but I'm here now for you. And we are going to be talking about consistency training today. So, day 1 on Monday, we talked about setting realistic goals because without a goal, you don't know where you're going in life, and you can't focus on where you're going if you don't, or you can't focus on how to get there if you don't know where you're going. So you need that roadmap. Yesterday, we focused on your mindset because if you have a crappy mindset, then you're not going to be able to follow through with stuff. If you believe that you are not worthy, then that is going to hinder your ability to get through things and believe you can, because your mind is the most powerful thing that you have. And without it, life just doesn't very well. And you can fill in the blank for what that exactly means. But so today with consistency training, we are going to learn how with going towards financial success, the concept of consistency training plays a pivotal role. So with that, let's dive right into what consistency training really entails in the context of financial well-being and how building positive financial habits can pave the way for long-term stability. So with that, consistency training involves the pets. Yep, that's just what I'm saying. So the way that we consistently train ourselves with financial well-being is that we have to involve intentionally repeating positive behaviors over time to establish those habits that contribute to desired outcomes. So remember how I said it takes 21 days to build a habit? Yeah. So we need to consistently do those movements and actions to create that habit for the desired outcome. So in the realm of finances, it's about cultivating a disciplined approach to money management. So the power of repetition is like the cornerstone of consistency training. By consistently practicing positive financial habits, you reinforce those natural pathways in the brain, making those habits more automatic and ingrained in your daily routine. So if you start doing a routine and building that habit, your brain just starts rewiring yourself for that habit. Because have you ever realized that driving from work to home, you get home and you're like, how did I get there? That's because your brain is on autopilot because it has repeatedly done that habit so much. So we want to get to that point eventually. And you have to build those positive financial habits because they don't just come out of nowhere. And especially when we're not taught how to do financial habits and what positive financial habits are, it's difficult because if you are shopping when you're upset, you are building a habit. So then when you take that away, it is uncomfortable. You're getting out of your comfort zone. And these habits form foundation of a stable and secure financial future. So when you do the positive habits, you are making sure that you are building that financial foundation. Because how can you build anything without a foundation? I mean, in life, you can't. And more than likely, if you try, it won't last. I mean, that's not saying that it won't 100% of the time, but statistically, you need a foundation for everything in life. Long-term stability through consistency, like just taking actions, create a sense of predictability and stability for your financial life. Like I said, building that foundation, building those habits. When positive financial habits become second nature, like I said, when you're driving home and you don't remember how, when we get to that part of your financial journey, that's when we know that it is taking root and taking hold and that foundation is building. Then you're better equipped to weather financial storms and emergencies and adapt to the changing circumstances that are life. Because having a $3,000 vet bill that you did not plan for, well, that happens. And I mean, you may have gotten the animal for free, but can you afford that vet bill? And it's just things like that, emergencies, like going to the doctor for something and finding out that it's not covered under your insurance. And I mean, that leads us into also reducing decision fatigue, because when you are consistently training, it minimizes the need for constant decision making. So if you have to choose, then with that animal that now has a $3,000 surgery, or you have to put it down because you can't afford the surgery, having that money and that emergency fund I would hope, make that decision easy, that you don't want to put the animal down, so you'd have the money to be able to help it. But that's just kind of like how it goes. So when financial habits are ingrained, you make the consistent choices automatically that reduce decision fatigue and freeing mental energy for more strategic financial decisions. So when you're creating a financial routine, you have to decide and establish a financial routine that is key to how you want your finances to end up. And it may include a regular budget review, savings contributions that you put on auto transfer from your checking to your savings, and just other financial tasks that contribute to your long-term goals as far as investing and retirement and that stuff. So, which pretty much investing in retirement can be consistently put into, and retirement and stuff, you can do the automatic transfers. But I mean, you have to also learn for life changes, because life is dynamic and circumstances change. I mean, no one seems to plan for the emergency vet bill or the broken arm that isn't covered under your insurance, which I don't know why it wouldn't be, but it's just an example. Consistency training equips you with the ability to adjust your financial habits when needed, so that they ensure that you remain aligned with your evolving goals and priorities. Because that was one thing we talked about on Monday too, was the fact that your goal right now may not be your goal in the future, that everything's evolving. The world is turning, our lives happen, like mine this morning, and it's just a never-ending cycle. And I mean, there are challenges, there are changes. Challenges, you have to recognize that there are potential obstacles, and having strategies to overcome them are integrate, and having them put into your brain for just so that you know that they're there and they can happen, is something that we need to plan for. No one likes planning for the worst, but sometimes you have to. I mean, if you lose your job, if the economy takes a dump, you need to plan for it. Death, no one likes thinking about death, even though it is one of the only things that is guaranteed in life. And I mean, you have to celebrate milestones also, acknowledging and celebrating small victories along the way. Like I said, was that yesterday, that when you have like a check mark next to something that you accomplish, that is telling your brain, great job, gold star. When you celebrate milestones, no matter how small, it is your brain telling you, good job. And when you consistently step towards your financial goals, milestones are wonderful. And when you look back in a year and see how far you've come, sometimes that can be, if you're feeling down and feeling stuck, that can be the motivator that is like, holy cow, look how far I've already come. I can't stop. So it's like climbing a mountain when you're like, I can't go on, but you're like, one more step, one more step. And then you just need that community support too, because we are humans and we need socialization. That's why in jail, people are put into solitary confinement because as a punishment, because we are social creatures. We need the society. And when we engage with a community that shares similar financial goals, they can support and hold us accountable, sharing experiences, challenges, and successes. It creates that collaborative environment that enhances consistency. So again, if you are hanging out with 5 drug addicts, you'll probably become the 6th if that's all they do. If you're hanging out with 5 millionaires, you'll become the 6th. It's just that. And it's really a people, places, and things, just like addiction, that I've learned that we need to accompany with our life, that community support. And that's why community in recovery is so important. And with everything else, I mean, when people isolate and do that stuff, they don't tend to be successful. And again, there are people who do, but it's not the norm. So in essence, the consistency training is about turning positive financial actions into habits that endure over time. And again, that is working on your mindset and working on those financial goals. And it's the foundation that you build upon your long-term financial stability, because a foundation for a 2-story house is going to be a lot smaller than the foundation for a 100-story building. And you have to realize what your goals are if you want that 2-story house or you want that 100-foot or 100-story building. So that also is determining how deep you want your foundation. And it's just how successful you want that financial journey to be, because a lot of people know this stuff, they just aren't implementing it. And I mean, this stuff too is, some people don't know it. A lot of people don't know it. But as we continue the Financial Pathways Challenge, it's just something to embrace, that power of consistency and consistently donating into your savings and retirement and investing. And you have to train yourself to shape your brain for that brighter financial future. So the power of financial habits, that's what I want to talk about now. And as we explore the intricacies of financial success, it's crucial to understand the profound impact that habits have on our financial behavior and decision making. So let's just get into the positive financial habits that can shape your financial future and contribute to your overall well-being. So that includes like habits as an architect of behavior, because habits serve as the architects of our daily behavior. When it comes to finances and habits, like they dictate how we spend, save, invest, and approach money-related decisions. Because like I said earlier, that if you go shopping every time you get upset, well, that is dictating how spending and behavior mix in together, because our behavior is what shapes our overall life. If we're behaving this way, but we want to be this way, then we need to figure out that straight line, because the easiest way between 2 places is a straight line. So how can we get from here to here? And the ripple effect of financial habits. So when you create a ripple effect, when you start saving for an emergency fund or high yield savings account rather, that ripple effect, you are going to get used to it and you won't even miss that money. So then that brings it into broader financial patterns impacting your overall financial health and contributing to the achievement of long-term goals. So when you get used to putting money into the high yielding savings account, and then you start investing and putting it into a savings account, or not savings, retirement account, that's building a habit. That's building that consistency and the ripple effect of saving and retirement and investing. And when you're consistently doing that, then you are consistently creating a positive change towards something that you haven't done before. Because consistent actions from the backbone of a positive financial habit, when you consistently make informed financial choices, you create a trajectory of success that becomes ingrained in your financial DNA. Again, creating that habit and shaping your financial future, because your financial future is a reflection of your habits today. Because if you are crappy with your money right now and don't change, well, how do you expect to retire? How do you expect to save an emergency fund? How can you expect to have any kind of generational wealth for your kids, your grandkids, for your future generations? And I know I've said it once, twice, a million times, but you say that only rich people can change the world. So become one. It's really that simple. And like when you cultivate positive financial habits, you alleviate that stress by providing a structured framework. So finances are the number one stressor in Americans' lives. And stress is the number one cause of heart disease, which is the number one cause of death. So based on that, you could really say finances are the number one cause of death in America. You can go with it. You can argue with me. I don't really care. But when you do that stepping stone, it's showing you that finances equal death from stress. When you're good with finances, then you're good, because life is easier. And money does not create happiness, but it creates the ability to enjoy life more, because you're not constantly working. You're spending time with your family. You're going on adventures and creating memories. And you can't typically do that without money. Again, typically, don't come at me being like, well, I'm broke and I travel all around the world. Okay, how do you get there? I mean, I guess you could run from east to west coast like Forrest Gump did, but, usually you need money. Just saying. And on that note, when you get financial stability and habits and alleviate that stress, you become empowered. You are an empowered decision maker. So habits create an empowerment that is decision making by streamlining the process. So that process, just like Henry Ford created the car making assembly line, there we go. That is a process that makes life easier. You no longer have these steps that are all over the place. You have a streamlined process, assembly line for your finances, and it surprisingly does take stress down a lot. So, I mean, when you focus on strategic choices rather than consistently deliberating on routine matters, it's going to be empowering for you. And when we break those negative cycles, so positive financial habits act as distributors to the negative cycles. Breaking the cycle of impulsive spending or financial procrastination begins with establishing consistent and positive habits that are to reshape your relationship with money. Because again, that spending when you're upset, that is a negative cycle, because then in 3 days, when you get it from Amazon, yeah, it's fun for a day, whatever you bought. But then it loses its shininess. And that's what most Americans have. We have a shiny object complex where we see something and we have to go buy it. We have to go buy it. But at what point do we need it? We don't need, we need shelter, food, clothing. That is it. And if you come at me being like, well, it's clothes, you don't need the amount of clothes that you have. Every month when I go to different treatment centers, bring at least one bag of clothes to donate. And I still have so much clothing, and I do that every month, multiple times a month. So contributing to just your overall well-being, financial well-being is intricately linked to your overall well-being. Like I said, finances are the number one stressor. Those bags under your eyes, yeah, that can be from stress, which can be from finances. And then like just creating those positive financial habits contribute to a sense of security and freedom and peace of mind, and just they overall enhance your quality of life. Because again, money does not buy happiness. If you are unhappy right now, winning the lottery is not going to make you happy. But on the flip side of that same coin, winning the lottery and quitting your job and saving that money and using it to create memories with your family and stuff like that, that can create happiness. But most people believe that winning the lottery and just having that money to spend on junk and expensive cars and expensive houses, that's going to make them happy. It's not, I promise you. And that has to align with your personal goals also. So next little stepping into, because when you get that money from winning the lottery or inheritance, you have to have your values aligned to be able to figure out what you want. Because habits rooted in financial values align with the broader life values. This alignment creates a harmonious relationship between your financial goals and your personal aspirations, fostering a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Again, winning the lottery, not going to make you happy. Winning the lottery so you can spend that time with your family and create memories and go on those vacations and just have that time to spend, that can create happiness. And I hope it does for you if you happen to win the lottery, which that's a whole nother scam that I believe in. But yeah, so I mean, embracing the positive financial habits is a journey of continuous improvement. You always are winning at different levels and failing forward sometimes, and it's not a straight line from broke to wealthy. It has all kinds of zigzags, ups and downs, and you have to learn to embrace those negative as well as the positive and just go with the flow. I don't remember what that 90s song is, but you know, probably should stay in the 90s anyway. But you have to evolve your changing needs and goals. And that's what we talked about on Monday also, was the evolution of your goals and everything. So in conclusion to that little area, like the impact of habits or financial behavior is profound, and consistent actions form the building blocks of financial success, shaping a future of stability, empowerment, and well-being. As we continue our Financial Pathways Challenge, let's celebrate the transformative power of positive financial habits to create a brighter financial future. Because that's what this challenge is about, teaching you that the steps are pretty much simple. They are simple, but not necessarily easy. And with that, everything becomes easy when you get better at it. Everything is hard in the beginning. Everything is hard when you first start. When you first started walking, you fell down all the time, right? When your kid starts walking, they wobble and fall and they get right back up. If we fell and stayed down, well, then we'd never walk. So it's the same with finances. You have to just learn it if you want to be good at it. Because, I mean, no one's good at most things. We are not born with the innate sense to do anything but survive. So everything else is learned. And in the pursuit of financial success, one of the critical steps is identifying and prioritizing key financial habits that align with your goals. So again, you have to know your goals to know your habits, to know if you need to realign your habits. So let's go straight into the importance of recognizing these habits, particularly budgeting, saving, investing, and debt management, because those are some of the key factors right now. So, I mean, key financial habits, you have to identify your key financial habits involving the behaviors that have the most significant impact of your financial well-being. It's about pinpointing the actions that will propel you towards your goals. And budgeting, I know it's not a fun one, because it's not fun to see where all your money is going, but it's a cornerstone of financial success. So identifying this habit involves creating a comprehensive budget, which in my financial education movement course, it is one of the biggest things that we do is budgeting. And it's a 9-page budget that I created, because if you don't know where your money is going, how can you know where you want to transfer it to? It's kind of like when you are trying to dam up a river to get it to go somewhere else. Well, you need to know how to dam it and how to get that money and that water to go where you want it to. So without a budget, you don't know where your money's really going. If you're like, oh, this is only $5, this is only $5, this is only $5. Well, eventually that adds up. Like that store called Five Below. I don't know if you have that where you are, but it can be dangerous, because you're like, oh, this is only $5. Yeah, but then you get 20 things and that's $100. So you need to budget to know for that foundation. Again, foundation is key. And you have to prioritize savings, because if you say you can't start saving because you don't have money, well, then you're still not going to have money in the future, because saving consistently is a key financial habit that ensures you're building a financial cushion for future endeavors. Because identifying and prioritizing this habit involves setting specific savings goals, whether that's $10, $20, $50 a month, or maybe $500, $1,000, $5,000 a month that you're saving, depending on how much your income is. And you need to know what you like, whether you're saving for an emergency or a major purchase, such as a down payment or a car, or long-term investments. If you want to buy real estate or something like that. And that brings us into investing for long-term growth, because investing is a habit that can significantly impact your long-term financial success. Let me say, investing is the way to build wealth. You're not going to build wealth by saving money in an envelope under your mattress. That just is not going to happen. So debt management as a responsible habit, because managing debt is a crucial financial habit for maintaining a healthy financial life. And then identifying and prioritizing this habit involves creating a plan to pay off existing debt. And it doesn't matter if you use the snowball method or the avalanche method, which we talk about more in my course, but one of them needs to happen for paying off debt, especially if you're paying upwards of 20, 25, 29%. It's keeping you broke. And I do not agree with Dave Ramsey and just putting all your money towards debt, because then you lose focus of why you're doing it. Because if you're just paying towards debt, well, that's not fun. We need to have some fun and work towards our goals. And yes, paying off debt can be one of your goals, but again, we need to be reminded of why it can be fun. And saving towards a goal like going to Disney World or going somewhere on vacation that's in a bucket list, or just doing a bucket list item, those things are going to make it a positive for you. And when something is positive, it's more likely that we'll do it. We won't procrastinate it. And I mean, hopefully, but when we prioritize based on personal goals, the habits may vary based on those goals and circumstances. So for instance, if home ownership is a primary goal, saving for a down payment might take precedence versus saving for a vacation. But I mean, you can save for both dual at the same time. Key habits should align with your unique aspiration of what you want. And then basing short-term and long-term goals. We talked about short-term and long-term goals yesterday of I want to go on vacation in 6 months versus I want to buy a house in 5 years or something like that. And just being effective financial habits strike a balance between the process of short-term and long-term goals and identifying those habits that cater to both immediate needs and future aspirations, and how that can go towards your financial well-being. And continuously assessing and adjusting for your changing goals. Talked about that. And because, again, we talked about it just today too, that your goal right now might not be the same in a year. And personalizing your lasting impact, because you want to personalize your financial habits to make them sustainable and impactful. Habits that resonate with your values and lifestyle are more likely to become ingrained in your daily routine. If you want to save towards a house, or rather, if someone tells you that you are at the age that you should buy a house, so you've been saving for a house, but you really don't want to buy a house because you don't want all the upkeep and you want to travel and all that, well, that has to be part of what's ingrained in you if you actually want that. And I don't see why you would actually start saving, even though people are telling you to. But, you know, people do that type of stuff. So, and when we start making consistently, or scratch that, my brain is kind of whatever at the moment, but when we consistently train our brain for a plan, we just start getting that to work for ourselves. And again, building that habit. Sorry, I lost train of thought for a second. Building that habit and creating that plan, whether it's, again, putting automatic deposits into your savings account from your checking every month, or just reflecting on what your goal is now versus in 10 years. And I mean, obviously, you're not going to know what your goal in 10 years is, but being aware that it will change, because we are always changing, and we just, yeah. So you have to identify those financial habits, like what are your strengths and where are the areas for improvement, because identifying habits that contribute positively to your financial well-being and those that may need adjustment are part of life. That is not even just for financial habits, that's for everything. And you have to prioritize the habits based on goals, because when you prioritize financial habits based on your established goals, if you're saving for a specific milestone, if that's a priority, and allocate more focus towards that savings habit. Tailor your plan to align with what matters most, because again, you are going to be more likely to save for something that you really want versus something that not so much. And make a SMART goal. When you break things down into manageable steps, it's easier to see that they are working. A dream written down becomes a goal broken into steps becomes a plan backed by actions makes your dreams come true. And that's true because when you write it down, you're more likely to work at it each day. And breaking larger financial goals into manageable steps is the easiest way to accomplish that. And a great way to do that is developing a calendar that outlines when and how you'll practice each financial habit, because consistency is reinforced through routine, and a calendar serves as a visual reminder of your commitments. And that's just like writing down on Post-its. So a calendar would be a great way to do it all in one. Like I said, I have Post-its all over my house just to kind of remind me daily of everything I want. Set reminders and alarms. That is a great one for when you want to add money regularly to a savings account, because we can leverage technology to set reminders and alarms for activities, whether it's checking your budget or contributing to savings each month. You can set a weekly reminder to put $50 in or review your investments. And that's just building your habits too, because if you are like, oh, it's Monday, I have a reminder coming up to put some money into my savings account, that's building a habit. And with that community that I had talked about earlier, you can have accountability partners. They are wonderful, because if you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, then having someone to fall back on, like family or fellow participant in the Financial Pathways Challenge or the financial education course that I run, just sharing those goals and progress with someone creates a support system and encourages consistency. And holding yourself accountable, that's a big one too, because how many times have you told yourself, no, I'm not getting up in the morning, or I'm going to get up in the morning to go work out, and then the morning comes and you don't want to do that? Because I've been there. Yep. And I mean, you have to overcome that resistance to change, because doing this is a huge getting out of your comfort zone change. Because adopting new financial habits is a transformative process. It doesn't happen overnight. You need to learn that you can fall and still you can fall forward. So with that said, life happens. Just pick yourself back up and life will continue whether or not you pick yourself back up. But you need to be the one who gets yourself out of that comfy little box that you've put yourself in. And there is going to be resistance to change, because we face resistance when trying to shift our established routines and behaviors. It's just natural. We're gung-ho for a week and then we want to give up. Same reason why most New Year's resolutions end on day 9, because people don't want to stick with it anymore, or they get overwhelmed because everything new is coming at you and it just seems like too much, and it leads to frustration and a sense of impossibility. Or you have that lack of consistency that we've been talking about for the last 40 minutes, that you need consistency because it forms new habits. And when we have a new habit in our brain, it just makes things easier. And the overall or overcoming resistance and embracing change, you need to start small and build gradually. That's why my course is set up the way it is, that it is like small bite-sized bites each week and month. And you have to focus on the consistency, not perfection. So, I mean, again, things are simple in my course with all finances, but they're not exactly easy. And you have to identify the root cause sometimes of why there is resistance. Why are you not wanting to get out of your comfort zone? Usually it's fear or self-doubt or external pressures that you won't be able to do this. You grew up poor. Why would you be able to get out of being broke? And it's just something that we need to work on, and you can't typically do it alone. So I want to take this time to extend. I've talked about it the last couple days, but I have a 5th day on Friday that I want you to apply and work with me. It is free on Friday. I am talking about the #1 success for building your financial security, because we are thrown so many different things when it comes to finances, that what is right, what is wrong, like what would be the best move for you. And it's just one of those things that we need help with, because if we can't learn finances, then we are doomed to repeat the past, and the government is going to rule us forever, which they should, but not the way that they are. And that's another conspiracy theory, so disregard that. But it's true when people say that only the wealthy can make things happen. Become wealthy. Become wealthy. And my course helps you with that. So go click on the link in the description here for people who are live, or I will send that link in the email for the replay. And I have some homework for you today. I want you to set a specific and achievable financial goal for the next month that aligns with consistency training. So it could be budgeting, saving, investing, debt management. I want you to ensure this goal is measurable and has a clear time frame. So again, using that SMART goal or my goal thing I sent out on Monday, the goal chart. There we go. Everyone got one in their email from Mondays. And I want you to fill that up and work in the workbook with the homework. And with that being said, I will see you tomorrow for long-term strategy of working on your finances. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Go apply for that free extension of this challenge on Friday. You if you're serious about your finances and whatnot. So I look forward to seeing you. Bye, guys.